Do you ever feel like you're running on a treadmill, working harder and harder, but not really getting any further ahead? We're all told that the grind is the key to success. But what if that's only half the story? Because what if the real secret isn't just about more effort, but about a fundamentally different perspective? In this episode, we are going to break down 5 game-changing rules that will challenge everything you think you know about leadership, ambition, and teamwork. These aren't abstract theories, they are practical, actionable principles you can start applying today. We'll talk about why you need to sharpen your axe before you chop the tree, why true strength comes from helping others, and a surprising lesson of a simple styrofoam cup. This is Zenfonic Audio, and today we're giving you the code to rewrite your approach to success and fulfillment. And so you're about to get a whole new playbook for your career and your life. So do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button right now and ring the notification bell so you never miss an episode. And trust me, this is the kind of thinking that builds legacies. Let's dive in. The bagel or the line? The dichotomy of perspective. There's a fundamental choice we make every single moment of every single day, often without even realizing it. It's a choice in perspective. As Sinek puts it, there are fundamentally 2 ways to see the world. Now, some people see the thing that they want, and some people see the thing that prevents them from getting the thing that they want. It sounds simple, almost too simple. Let me paint you a picture he shared. A story that brings this abstract idea to life with startling clarity. Imagine this. You've just finished a grueling half marathon in a city park. Your legs are aching. You're drenched in sweat. But there's that incredible feeling of accomplishment washing over you. At the finish line, a sponsor is giving away free bagels. You and a friend walk over and you see it. A long, snaking line of equally exhausted runners, all waiting for their reward. You turn to your friend and say, "Let's get a bagel." Your friend looks at the queue, sighs and says, "No, the line's too long." You look at him, and then back at the table piled high with delicious fresh bagels, and you simply say, "A bagel?" In that moment, a universe of difference in mindset is revealed. Okay, so your friend could only see the obstacle, the line. It was the dominant feature in his landscape. It was the problem, the cost, the reason not to act. But for you, the line was just incidental geography. It was the space between you and the goal. All you could see was the bagel. So this right here is the story of so many of our lives. How many times have we stood before an opportunity, a free bagel, only to be deterred by the line? Think about the aspiring novelist who dreams of writing a book but sees only the 80,000 word mountain and the daunting wall of rejection letters from publishers. They see the line, not the finished manuscript in their hands. Think about the entrepreneur with a brilliant idea who sees only the bureaucracy of starting a business, the challenge of finding funding and the fear of failure. They see the line, not the thriving company that could change an industry. Think about the person who wants to get in shape, but sees only the early morning alarms, the sore muscles, and the cost of the gym membership. They see the line, not the energy, health, and confidence that awaits them. The world presents us with the bagel and the line. Always. The line is the cost, the effort, the risk. The bagel is the reward, the achievement, the fulfillment. The person who sees the bagel understands that the line is simply the price of admission. So they are willing to pay it. The person who sees only the line believes the cost is too high, and so they walk away, leaving the bagel for someone else. Sinek's realization was profound. He could only see the bagel. Maybe his friend could only see the line. So, and what did Sinek do? He walked up to the table, leaned between two people, grabbed two bagels from the box, and walked away. No one got mad. No one stopped him. Because the unwritten rule wasn't, you must wait in the line. The rule was, here are free bagels for the runners. He understood the objective. This isn't about being rude or cutting in line in a literal sense. It's a metaphor for a much deeper truth. You don't have to do things the way everyone else has done them. The line is often a self-imposed or socially constructed convention, not a physical law. That the first rule, the first step to igniting that spark within you is to go after the things that you want. You can break the conventional rules. You can find a different path. The only caveat, and this is the ethical core of the idea, is that you cannot deny anyone else the right to get their bagel too. Your innovative path cannot be at the expense of others. It's about being clever, not cruel. It's about seeing the goal so clearly that the conventional obstacles become irrelevant. So the first question I leave you with is this: in your life right now, what is the bagel you truly want? And what is the line that you are letting stop you? Sharpening Axe, the infinite game of success. Now, it's easy to hear that first story and think that success is just about a relentless, bullish focus on the goal. Just keep your eyes on the bagel and run towards it, crashing through any obstacle. But that's a finite, short-sighted view. And it's the mindset of someone playing to win a single game, not the whole championship. So this brings us to the second story, a timeless parable that shifts our focus from mere effort to strategic effectiveness. It's the story of two lumberjacks. Lumberjacks, every morning, they venture into the forest at the exact same time. They work all day and they stop at the exact same time. They are equals in strength and stamina. Yet, day after day, one lumberjack consistently chops more wood than the other. This goes on for weeks, then months. The lumberjack who chops less wood is driven to the brink of madness. He's working harder than ever. He takes no breaks. He works through lunch. He's putting in more hours, more sweat, but his pile of wood is always smaller. Finally, his pride shattered, he approaches his more successful colleague. "I don't understand," he says, exasperated. We start at the same time. We stop at the same time. I work without breaks, yet you disappear for about an hour in the middle of every single day, and still, you chop more wood than me. Where do you go for that hour? The other lumberjack looks up from his work, smiles, and says, "Oh, I go home to sharpen my axe." This story hits me hard, especially as a writer. How many of us are trying to chop down a forest with a dull axe? We glorify the grind. We wear burnout like a badge of honor. We believe that more hours, more effort, more force is the only way to succeed. We are the first lumberjack swinging frantically with a blunt tool and wondering why we're so exhausted and why our progress is so slow. And Sinek connects this to what he calls an infinite mindset. An infinite game is not about winning or losing in a single moment. It's about staying in the game as long as possible. A finite mindset is about getting the most done today. But an infinite mindset is about what you can accomplish over the course of a lifetime. Sharpening the axe is the ultimate act of an infinite player. It's the counterintuitive act of stepping away from the work to improve the means of your work. So what does sharpening your axe look like in our modern digital forest? It's taking a vacation, a real one, where you turn off your email, put your phone on airplane mode, and do not connect to the office. It's not a sign of weakness. It's essential maintenance for your mind and soul. And you come back sharper, more creative, more resilient. It's dedicating an hour a day not to answering emails, but to reading a book in your field or even outside of it. It's learning a new skill, taking an online course, or listening to a podcast like this one. 5 minutes, that's you right now sharpening your axe. It's getting a full 8 hours of sleep. It's eating a healthy meal. It's going for a run. Our physical and mental well-being are the very edge of our axe. When we neglect them, the axe becomes dull, and every task becomes a struggle. It's even taking the time to build genuine relationships with your colleagues. So that 15-minute coffee break where you're not talking about work, but are actually connecting as human beings, that's not wasted time. And that's sort of sharpening the axe of collaboration, trust, and communication. The lumberjack, who worked non-stop, was focused only on the output. The successful lumberjack was focused on his capacity. He understood that his ability to chop wood tomorrow depended on the condition of his axe today. This is a profound shift in thinking. It requires us to have the confidence to slow down, to step back, to invest in ourselves, even when the world is screaming at us, to hurry up and produce more. It's about realizing that sometimes the most productive thing you can do is nothing at all related to the task at hand, because it's to go and sharpen your axe. The Leader's Code, 5 rules for a life of impact. So we have these 2 foundational mindsets: seeing the bagel, not the line, and constantly sharpening our axe. But how do we apply these in the real world, especially when our actions impact others? This is where Sinek's framework becomes a powerful guide for leadership. And let's be clear, leadership isn't about rank or title. It's about choosing to look after the person to the left of you and the person to the right of you. So this very idea, seeing the bagel and not the line, is the foundation for Sinek's first rule for a life of impact. In fact, he builds a powerful kind of framework of 5 rules from this point. And let's walk through them together. Rule number 1, go after what you want. This is the direct lesson from the bagel story. The world is full of people who will tell you to wait your turn, to follow the established path, to be patient. And sometimes that's wise counsel, but more often than not, the line is just a suggestion, a path of the least resistance that most people follow out of habit. The rule isn't wait, the rule is succeed. As Sinek demonstrated, he simply walked up and took the bagel. He didn't harm anyone, he didn't push anyone aside, he just refused to let the perceived obstacle dictate his actions. This rule is the call to be proactive, to be audacious. It's about understanding the difference between a real barrier and a conventional one. It requires you to ask, is this line a law of physics? Or is it just a habit that everyone else is following? Can I find a different way? So, can I create my own path? You have permission to challenge the status quo, to innovate, to bypass the conventional hurdles, as long as your pursuit of your bagel doesn't prevent others from getting theirs. It's the spirit of the entrepreneur, the artist, the pioneer. They see the goal and they invent the path. Rule number 2, take care of each other. This might be the most important lesson of all. It's the counterbalance to the first rule's audacity. While you pursue your goals, you are never alone. Your success is intrinsically linked to the people around you. Sinek tells a story about the Navy SEALs, arguably one of the most elite fighting forces in the world. He asked one of the SEALs, who makes it through the selection process? Who becomes a SEAL? The answer is fascinating. It's not the preening, muscle-bound guys who want to prove to the world how tough they are. The SEALs said almost none of them make it. It's not the star college athletes who have never been truly tested to their core. They don't make it either. He said the ones who become SEALs are the ones who, when they are physically and emotionally spent, when they have absolutely nothing left to give, somehow, some way, find the energy to help the person next to them. They become SEALs. This is the very definition of leadership. It's not about how tough you are, it's about your commitment to others. It's not about your individual performance. It's about your ability to lift the performance of the entire team. So great leaders don't sacrifice the people for the numbers. They sacrifice the numbers for the people. In a business context, this is about creating what Sinek calls a circle of safety. Imagine a world where you go to work and you feel safe. Not physically safe. Should be, so that should be a given, but truly safe. Safe enough to admit you made a mistake. Safe enough to say, I don't know, or I need help, without any fear of humiliation or retribution. When that circle of safety exists, something magical happens. The natural human instincts of trust and cooperation emerge. We stop spending our time and energy protecting ourselves from each other, and instead combine our talents to protect the organization from the dangers outside a toxic environment where politics and backstabbing are rife, forces everyone to play defense against their own colleagues. A safe environment allows them to play offense against the competition and the challenges of the market. Being an elite warrior or an elite leader is not about how smart you are, or how fast you are, or how strong you are. It's about how good you are at helping the person to your left and the person to your right. And it's about understanding that your strength comes from the strength of your team. And rule number 3, be the last to speak. This rule is a masterclass in practical leadership inspired by one of the greatest leaders of the modern era, Nelson Mandela. Mandela was often described as a great listener, but he was more than that. He was the son of a tribal chief, and he recalled attending tribal meetings with his father. He remembered 2 things. 1, they always sat in a circle. And 2, his father was always the last to speak. This isn't a passive act. It's a deeply strategic and respectful one. Think about the standard boardroom meeting. The most senior person walks in and says, here's the problem, here's what I think we should do, but I'm interested in your opinion. Let's go round the room. It's too late. The meeting is over. The leader has already biased the entire room. everyone is either trying to agree with the boss to curry favor or formulating their arguments against the boss's position. And the opportunity for genuine open brainstorming is gone. The skill is to hold your opinions to yourself until everyone else has had a chance to speak. So this does two incredible things. First, it gives everyone else the feeling that they have been heard. It gives them a voice. It communicates that their opinion matters. Even if their idea isn't the one that's chosen, the very act of being able to contribute builds buy-in and morale. Second, and this is the practical genius of it, you get the benefit of hearing what everyone else thinks before you render your opinion. You get to hear all perspectives, all data points, all arguments. It allows you to make a more informed, more complete decision. The skill is not just to learn, to listen. So the skill is to be the last to speak. It's a simple, actionable practice that can transform the dynamics of any team. It's the difference between a monologue and a dialogue. Manel's rule number 4, take accountability. Sometimes you're the problem. This is a hard pill to swallow, but it's essential for growth. Sinek illustrates this with a grim but powerful piece of medical history. In the 18th century, a terrible phenomenon called puerperal fever, or the Black Death of childbed, was ravaging Europe. Women were giving birth and then dying within 48 hours. In some hospitals, the mortality rate was as high as 70%. This was the age of science and reason. Doctors, men of science, were determined to find the cause. So they studied the corpses, conducting autopsies in the morning, and then in the afternoon they would go and deliver babies. Now, it wasn't until the mid-1800s that a doctor, Oliver Wendell Holmes, made a horrifying realization. The doctors who were performing autopsies weren't washing their hands before delivering the babies. They were transferring disease from the dead to the living. He pointed it out. He said, "Gentlemen, you are the problem." And what happened? He was ostracized. They called him crazy. For decades, the medical establishment ignored him because they could not accept that they, the healers, were the source of the plague. It was only when they finally accepted this uncomfortable truth and started sterilizing their instruments and washing their hands that the Black Death of childbed disappeared. The lesson is stark. Sometimes you are the problem. So it's so easy to blame others, to blame the market, to blame the economy, to blame the team. It takes immense courage and humility to look inward and ask, what am I doing that is contributing to this issue? Sinek shares a personal insight he had. The only thing that all of my failed so far is me.
That level of self-awareness is the starting point for all meaningful change.
You can take all the credit for the things you do right, but only if you also take responsibility for the things you do wrong. So it has to be a balanced equation. Before we look to fix others, we must first have the courage to fix ourselves. Rule number 5, you deserve a styrofoam cup. This final lesson is a beautiful story about humility and gratitude. Sinek talks about a former Undersecretary of Defense who was invited to give a speech at a large conference. He said, you know, last year I spoke at this exact same conference. Last year, I was still the Undersecretary. When I flew here, they flew me business class. When I arrived at the airport, there was someone waiting to take me to my hotel. They had already checked me in, and they just took me up to my room. The next morning, someone was waiting in the lobby to drive me to the venue. They handed me a cup of coffee in a beautiful ceramic cup. He paused, then continued. This year, I'm no longer the Undersecretary. I flew here in coach. I took a taxi to my hotel and checked myself in. So this morning I took another taxi here, found my own way backstage, and when I asked if there was any coffee, someone pointed to the machine in the corner, and I poured myself a cup of coffee into this here styrofoam cup. He held up the styrofoam cup for the audience to see. The lesson, he said, is this: the ceramic cup was never meant for me. It was meant for the position I held. I deserve a styrofoam cup. This is a powerful reminder for anyone who achieves a measure of success. As you gain fame, fortune, seniority, people will treat you better. They will hold doors for you. They will bring you coffee without you asking. They will call you sir and ma'am. None of that is meant for you. It's meant for the position you hold. It's meant for the level you have achieved. You can accept all the perks, you can enjoy them, but you must remain grateful for them and never forget that they are not a reflection of your inherent worth, but of the responsibility you carry. The moment you believe you truly deserve the ceramic cup is the moment you start to lose your way. Humility is remembering that no matter your title, at your core, you are always deserving of a styrofoam cup. It keeps you grounded. It keeps you connected to the people you are meant to serve. The unwritten chapter is yours. So there we have it. A series of stories, of parables, that together form a blueprint for a more fulfilling life and a more impactful style of leadership. It starts with your perspective. Train yourself to see the bagel, not the line. See the opportunity, not the obstacle. It's sustained by your strategy. Understand that this is an infinite game. It's simple gain, and don't burn yourself out trying to chop down the whole forest today. Take the time every single day to sharpen your axe. Axe, and it's guided by a code of conduct. Go after what you want, but never at the expense of others. And build a circle of safety by taking care of the people around you. And practice the humility of being the last to speak. Have the courage to accept that sometimes you are the problem. And never ever forget that you deserve a styrofoam cup. These aren't just business lessons, these are life lessons. As I sit here reflecting on these ideas, I see how they apply to my own work, my own relationships, my own struggles. They challenge me to be better. The most beautiful thing about these principles is that they are all choices. Even you can choose your perspective. You can choose to invest in yourself. You can choose how you treat people. You can choose to be accountable. You can choose to be humble. This is the chapter of your life that is still unwritten. And the pen is in your hand. What story will you choose to tell? Thank you for joining me on Zenfonic Audio. Until next time, keep asking the better questions.